Hi guys, it's Thea time. Today we've got the Paletteful Packs Petite Box for the month of December. And we've got red and green paper squigglies, hence it's Christmas month. And the first thing I see are the golden artist color acrylics in ultramarine blue, benzimidine yellow medium, Nepatal red lights, and titanium white. I don't think I pronounced the red and yellow properly, but sorry. We got the titanium Robert Simmons TT67 filbert in the size 6. And it looks like a round/flat, I guess you would call it. I've got a plastic palette knife, which I've never used before, but I'm excited to see how it's like. And then we've got the Alternatives Classic Cotton 4x4 canvas. And then we also have the Alternatives 4x6 economy cotton canvas panel. Art Alternatives. And then we also got an Art Alternatives 5x7 economy canvas cotton canvas panel. And then we got a list of all the supplies, and you can do a traditional dry brush or wet or some wash, so like a watercolor. And the prompts are library, everyday object, storm, or texture, but I think I want to do something more Christmassy. And I also got this picture of Ollie. You might want to do on the bigger canvas, maybe or maybe not. We'll see. I already know what I'm going to do for the middle canvas. It's more Christmassy. And then I also have this one, which we could do on a smaller canvas, but we might do some too Christmassy stuff. So I've got all this stuff ready, and I just got a palette and a water jar and a little piece of paper for swatches. And I'm going to use a little tiny bit of blue. I'm not going to squirt out that much because acrylics, once they dry, you can't add water to them like watercolors and reuse them. So you've got to be really sparing with them. Use them very sparingly. So they all look pretty warm toned, I think. So I guess if we try to mix, or I don't really know, but if we try to mix a green or something, it should look pretty fine. But these layer around 75%. The yellow is pretty see-through on top of the blue. And the white layers, well, they basically all layer really well when they're dry. As you can see with the light red on top of the yellow. And the palette knife isn't really seeming like something I might really like. I think you need to use a lot of paint to effectively get like really big textured waves and stuff, but we'll see. So I'm going to start mixing some pastel versions of the red, the blue, and the yellow. I'm going to start with the blue, and I'm going to just paint a little strip or layer. That's pretty nice blue. Then I'm going to mix a lighter red. That seems a bit dark still, so I might want to add a bit more white. I'm going to just transfer it from my brush onto my palette knife. And once you have water, it doesn't really work well with the palette knife because it is more watered down, and to get the texture you do need a thicker consistency. But for this background, I kind of want it to be a bit smooth, so I don't think a palette knife is going to work that well with it. Just going to scrape up some more paint. I think for background, since I want like a very thin, smooth background, it's a bit easier to just go in with a brush. It's also because I don't want to have a really thick background. Maybe more for the focal point of my painting, But for the background, I'm not really into having a really textured background for this painting. That's a nice yellow. I'm just going to use downward or vertical strokes to make each layer. And I'm just going to have the pattern going over and over of blue, yellow, red, pink, blue, yellow, red, pink. Or should I call it pink or red? I guess pink. Blue, pink, yellow, blue, pink, yellow. They're around 1 inch wide. I'm just going to mix more colors because I already ran out of blue. And a little bit more pink. It's a bit darker, I think. But I'm going to put another coat of blue paint onto my first blue layer just to make it look more opaque. Opaque, I think. And then I'm going to mix the pink. And then again do a second coat and then make a new layer. I'm going to wash. It looks like I'm washing my brush very vigorously. It's because the acrylic paint is really clinging to the brush. I'm going to mix some more yellow. That's a bit more lighter than the original yellow, but it's okay. I'm going to attempt with the palette knife again. I guess you would do little down strokes, but I'm just spreading it out vertically. So I want everything to be smooth. I guess I'm seeing texture, but I think it's because I don't have that much paint on it, but it's really hard to wash the palette knife in your water jar. I mean, washing it afterwards is more easier. But so now we've got another pink layer, and then the last layer will be yellow. So we got the perfect amount of layers. I've taken the other canvas away because it was taking up all the focus. But now I'm going to work on the focal points of my painting, and I'm going to make green. So I'm obviously going to do a Christmas tree, but I decided to go for a fun, colorful background instead of, like, I guess you would do red or like a living room or in front of a fireplace or something like that. I decided to go with a very whimsical, colorful background instead. And I'm just going to mix a green. I originally tried to do it with the pastel colors I had left, but it looked too much like mint. So I guess here is a place that would go well with the palette knife. But I don't like it because it's so streaky and you can see the background. Okay, maybe not this time, palette knife. Maybe I'll try you on one of the other canvases. So I'm just drawing out a pretty normal tree. It's really bushy looking. Like it got really wide at the bottom really fast. But I really have texture with this brush. I guess it's a more softer texture look, but I'm going to make, using the light pink, I'm going to make like a tree skirt because I don't think we can make it brown. So I'm just going to make a tree skirt and then make some presents, I guess. Most of the time when I draw a Christmas tree, I put it in a red pot. But no one puts trees in a red pot, I guess. Well, Christmas trees. I guess you'd put it in a black pot that would be covered by the tree skirt. But I'm going to draw some ornaments. And I'm just going to use the regular colors because I don't want to mix more pastels in case I'm not going to be using pastels in my next painting. I'm just going to draw a bunch of tiny red, blue, and yellow ornaments and draw a little star on top. And just continue until the tree looks somewhat not spaced out. Well, the ornaments are pretty much spaced out. Perfectly placed, I guess you would say. Trying to start drawing ribbons on the presents, but since they're still wet, it's a bit weird. I'm kind of dragging watery paint from each present into each other, making ribbons. That's cute. Touch that up. Some yellow. I'll end up making pastel anyway. Pastel yellow isn't that bad. It looks really bright on camera, but it's really pastel in person, so you can't blend it. Now we're gonna go on with the next painting. I've decided I'm not going to draw an Ollie because we don't have any I don't know how to make brown or black with these colors. So I'm going to just try and draw something, maybe abstract, with the palette knife. It's the palette knife's turn to have complete control. So we might do a nativity scene, something like that. But probably not, because we don't have brown. So I'll just draw a big star, and then I'm making the sky blue. And I'm just going to mess around, put red. It looks weird. I don't know what I was trying to do, but I'm starting to put green on top and scraping everything off. Okay, now I'm going to start and get more serious. I'm going to crack down on using the palette knife. And I'm going to just continue with the sky, and I'm going to mix it a lighter blue, but with the majority of the color is still blue, so it's more of a medium blue. And I'm going to paint, and as you can see, there's a lot of texture here. I don't know if you can see it that well on camera, but there's a lot of texture because there's a lot of paint being used. And I want to cover this red. There's still some red peeking through, but it's okay because I have another idea how to kind of counteract to change the appearance, like how eye-catching the red is. And in this painting, since I can't reuse this paint, I'm going to try and use every last drop. Since green cancels out red, I'm putting a bunch of tiny Christmas trees on top of the blue where the red is underneath. And then I guess the green will become less noticeable. I mean the red. And I'm just going to continue with drawing a bunch of Christmas trees. And they look so cool because they're very textured looking. Like you can see, it's like the little, I guess, branches. They're like bumpy on the painting. So I guess if you would touch it now, it's very bumpy. I'm going to continue putting some blue to still cover up some of that red and try fixing the star. So trying to fix the star is also on my list. And going to add some smaller stars using the leftover yellow. And draw Christmas stars for the Christmas trees. I don't know why someone would leave decorated Christmas trees out in the open, but I think some people have done it already. So it's a painting, it's not real life. So just drawing a bunch of tiny ornaments, but I think they should be garlands instead. So tinsel, long strings of tinsel. It looks pretty cool. The red brings more attention to the one on the Christmas tree instead of the red in the background. But that looks much better. So the palette knife, I'm not totally mad at it. I feel like I can work with it. And this is all the paint I can scrape off of with this palette knife. So here is the art.